Welcome to Lead Up, Leadership Gwinnett's podcast dedicated to showcasing initiatives that are truly impacting our community and the incredible leaders behind them. I'm your host, Logan Serrano, Director of Marketing and Communications with Leadership Gwinnett. And today I have joining me Kelly Greer Brewer. She's the Director of Development and Outreach at Eagle Ranch, and she's also a graduate of the Leadership Gwinnett class of 1999. Welcome, Kelly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me this morning.
Awesome. Well, we're excited. So a little bit about Eagle Ranch. They're located in Flowery Branch, and they're one of the Southeast's largest residential children's programs. It's designed to give children the structure, stability, and the time that they need to work through a crisis situation. So as Director of Development and Outreach at Eagle Ranch, Kelly oversees the strategic planning and implementation of fundraising initiatives. She has over 15 years of experience raising funds and awareness for notable causes. And prior to Eagle Ranch, she was actually publisher at Gwinnett Magazine, so she knows all about what makes Gwinnett great. I'm thrilled to have Kelly joining me on today's podcast to tell us a bit more about this incredible resource in our community and the amazing work that they're doing. It's truly a spectacular program. So Kelly, we'll dive right into it. Question number one, can you tell us a bit about yourself and how you came to be at Eagle Ranch?
Yeah, it's kind of a cool story. So yeah, I was a part of launching Gwinnett Magazine back in a long time ago, 1997, when Gwinnett was really just taking off. And so I spent a little over 10 years involved with that publication. And kind of a neat byproduct of that was Eagle Ranch was one of my clients. Gwinnett is one of the big service areas that we serve. Many of our kids come from Gwinnett. Many of the families we serve come from Gwinnett. And so they were one of my clients. And then I got asked to be on their board and just really had a heart for what was going on out there. And, I think we get put in seasons sometimes. God gives us different seasons. And I was ready to do something different. My heart was just really pulled towards it. So, and I think my favorite part is the thing I was lamenting most about leaving Gwinnett Magazine was just, all the relationships and clients and friends. But lo and behold, I go over here to Eagle Ranch and easily half of my clients are now involved at Eagle Ranch. So I didn't lose any of the perks of the magazine, but just really enjoy my work at Eagle Ranch.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long has Eagle Ranch been around?
So they've been around since 1985. So we're in our 37th year serving boys and girls in crisis.
Same with Leadership Gwinnett, 85.
Yeah.
Great year. Hey, well, talk a bit about the mission of Eagle Ranch. You talked a little bit about who you serve, but tell us more about what kind of child comes to Eagle Ranch.
Yeah. So we really position ourselves as a family restoration program. So even though it's the child that kind of is the linchpin of everything, it's really trying to help the family. So it's a family that's in crisis. So it's a child that for whatever reason can't live at home for a season of their lives. Things have kind of deteriorated to that degree, whether it's fighting, disrespect, won't go to school, sexual promiscuity, getting in trouble with the law. But things have just really deteriorated to a point where who's ever in that parental role is saying, I need help. And I'm a parent, and I know you're a parent. That's a tough place to be. And so we really try to affirm when someone calls that that's just about the most bravest, courageous thing you can do is say, I want something better for my child. I want something better for my family. And so there's no shame in that. There's no guilt. And we really try to honor that. So, and we serve Metro Atlanta. So we serve an 80-mile radius. We're up here right by Chateau Elan. So we're not far away at all.
That's a broad area that you guys serve. That's really great. So talk a bit more about what a day in the life of a child looks like at Eagle Ranch. Can you tell us a bit about the schooling, extracurricular, home life, first ranch life? Dive into that.
Yeah. So just to kind of give you some context, and I think you're going to put a link to our overview video, which will really give you some real context and a visual picture of all the things I'll talk about this morning. But we have 315 acres. So very rural, beautiful setting. We have 10 homes. So we have up to 7 kids living in each of those 10 homes. So 70 children we can serve at any time. Every home has a house parent couple where that's their full-time job. And maybe we can talk a little bit about that in a minute. Always looking for house parents. So they live on our campus. They get up in the morning, just like a family would. You have breakfast, you might have some chores, make your bed, get your lunch ready. And then we have an on-campus SACS accredited school. So that's a huge part of what we do, because what we know about at-risk children is typically they're 1 to 2 grades behind. Many kids that come to Eagle Ranch have stopped going to school. So they're on a really bad trajectory. So to be able to have them at Eagle Ranch School, our average class size is 8 to 10 kids with a teacher and a parapro, and really have seen some huge life change happen at the school. Just these kids are smart and they just don't know they're smart. Yeah. And so God promises all of us at least one gift, and those teachers are just looking for, what is this child's God-given gift?
That's awesome.
And it seems like if we can figure that out, that's when things kind of start to change sometimes, because they realize, hey, there is something special about me. There is something unique about me. I'm gifted in this area. So they go to school. I love that at our school, we do PE for an hour every day.
Nice.
So that's how they finish their day. They're, outside playing basketball, running, trail bike riding. So they do PE, then they actually get home to their home on the ranch around 4:00, and they have some snack time, do homework, and then they have some free time, provided that there hadn't been any, issues during the day. And it's just like a neighborhood. The different homes will be like, hey, let's go play basketball. Let's go do this. Let's go fishing. Then they're in bed around 9 and do it all again the next day. And then the other big part of our program is our counseling component. So we have 5 licensed master level counselors on staff. So basically have 1 counselor for every 2 homes. So that counselor is overseeing up to 14 children and their families. And the kids are being counseled several times a week. And then the families come to the ranch several times a month for family counseling. So just a really sweet, and we have a campus pastor. So it's kind of like we have home life, education, counseling, and spiritual support. So that's kind of how
that's awesome.
How we're positioned.
I want to come live there. So what happens on the weekends?
Yeah. Okay. So weekends, that's a great question. So weekends are interesting because the kids do go home every other weekend.
Okay.
And the reason that they do that is they're learning new ways to deal with if they're angry, if they're stressed, if they're depressed. They're learning new ways of coping, new ways of sharing their feelings. So are the families. So we want them going home every other weekend to practice these new skills that they're learning to be healthier. Yeah. But then on the weekends, they don't go home. I mean, there's so much to do at the ranch. We've got art, and we've got gyms, and we got, this beautiful outdoors area. You've got other kids to play with, other, adults that are there to support you and love you. And we got chores. So we're big on work, and we're big on play. Yes. And our founder talks about how that's sort of today, kids don't know how to work and they don't know how to play. So that's something I didn't mention. When the kids do come here, they're not allowed to bring their cell phones or computers.
I love that. Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
So they really get it. We kind of really slow down life for them. We really do. And just give them a chance to really reflect on, who am I becoming? Who do I want to become? forget what social media is saying about me. What do I say about me? What does God say about me?
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. That is so incredible. And a little bit of a selfish question here, but aren't there horses on the property, or is that still a thing? I love horses.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we have a full-on equine therapy program.
That's so cool.
So we have, I think right now, actually, we have like 10 horses, which
Wow.
usually we have 8. We've got some minis. We've actually got some goats. And there, there's this whole thing around kids that are really in trauma. They'll, I get it. You shut down. You don't want to talk to anyone. You don't want to deal with anyone. And so this whole notion around the equine therapy and just bonding with the animals and the horses and sort of nonverbal love, care, support, it's huge. And then the kids, even beyond the therapeutic part, they can take horsemanship as a exploratory at school. So every Wednesday they have all these different exploratories they can pick from. They can take horsemanship, and then we do like trail riding, and the kids that really love the horses can adopt a horse and really care and feed for it. So
I love
animals are a big part of the healing at Eagle Ranch. Dogs, I mean, we got it all. So
that's awesome. Oh my gosh, you guys have thought of everything. Well, that's just so cool. So can you share a story or stories of a child or a family or even staff whose lives were changed because of Eagle Ranch?
Yeah, so we've had over 2,000 kids and their families come through our program in the years that we've been here. So just a lot of really sweet success stories, but a couple that come to mind. We have a young man who graduated the program. It was either last year or the year before last. He came to the ranch when he was 12, his father was shot and killed. And just as you can imagine, and he and his father were super tight. They were best buddies. His father was shot and killed, and he just went, and he's 12, and he went to just this really dark place. So here, his mom and his little sister are left, and he actually says, if it wasn't for Eagle Ranch, I would either be in prison or dead.
Wow.
So it's just, it's help. How do you deal with that in a way? Like, this sounds really corny, but that saying, things can make you bitter or better.
Yes.
And you see things that happen to people, even identical things, and some people it makes them better, and some people just can't ever get past it. And so, his mom was like, I think they went a couple years, and she knew, like, this is not going to end well. So she reached out and just helping him, like, how do you deal with, I mean, you're angry, you're sad, you're just all the things you can imagine. But the sweet part of that story is we really got him, turned around. He's a remarkable football player. And so we actually partnered with the local high school, because Eagle Ranch doesn't have a football team, but we partnered with the local high school and made, the deal. Hey, Trevon, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing at the ranch, you can go play football. Anyways, long story short, he ended up getting a scholarship to Ole Miss. And so he is playing today at Ole Miss. So,
that's so amazing.
He's got a light in his eyes, and just, his mom and sister, we help them because they're hurting too,
Yes, yeah.
So that's one of my favorite. That's a sweet story. And then others, maybe not quite as dramatic, but one of the things we see a ton of, Logan, is just this anxiety. And especially with COVID, just the isolation and the stress, and these kids, you're just on the computer all day. You're either playing video games all day, or you're on social media all day. And I mean, we know this as adults, you can get in a really weird headspace.
Yes.
So like, we had a young man, he just graduated also. So he was just so anxious. Like, he refused to go to school. Like, he was being bullied at school, and had him come to the ranch. And what I think is so funny about him is, So here he is at the ranch. He's at school with 8 kids in a class. But I mean, he's struggling. I mean, he doesn't want to look up. He's got his hair brushed down in his face. I mean, he's just hurting. He's just hurting. And they were picking exploratories, and he picked wood turning. So this is really cool. We have some retired wood turners who come out every Wednesday, and we raised the money and built a wood turning shop. So we have lathes and all this equipment.
Wow.
He told us later, the young man told us later, he signed up for that because he figured no one would be in that class. Like that was his reason. Like, I just don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to look at anybody. Signed up for wood turning, and the kid, like early on, starts making vases, bowls, pins, these beautiful pieces of art. And just like that was the thing that sort of brought him out. Who would have known? And then here are these, grandfather type guys coming around him, just encouraging him, showing him. And that sort of unlocked, like, hey, let's talk about all these other things that are going on with you. Got his family going. So today he graduated from the program. He's back in his, public school, doing great, got a whole new group of friends, but he goes around the area on behalf of the wood turners, talking about, like, public speaking about what a great hobby this is and how it changed his life.
Oh my gosh, a public speaker. That's a nice turnaround.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so it's just,
I just love that.
Lots and lots of stories.
Yeah. Incredible. You're right. You guys are really figuring out what works for how to reach these kids. And the next question, this is look a little bit more forward thinking. What's new on the horizon for Eagle Ranch? I know you and I talked a bit about something cool coming up. So you want to dive into that a little bit more?
Sure. So what a great question. So one of the things that kind of breaks our heart here is we get on average 40 to 50 phone calls a month of people needing help. And on average, we might be able to take 3 or 4 of those kids. So that's a huge number of kids that we are trying, and we're real careful about that. When someone calls, we try not just to say, oh, you're not a fit, good luck with that.
Right.
If they're, for example, like if they're addicted to drugs, we're not an addiction facility, but we have, relationships with other nonprofits in the area. So we'll say, hey, based on what you're telling us, you might want to look into this place. We really try to get them the help they need. But just the fact that we're turning away, that there's just such a need. So our board of directors back in 2018 decided we needed to take a bigger role in that. And so fast forward this spring, we are launching, it's a 10,000 square foot outpatient counseling center. And it's on the Eagle Ranch campus. When it's fully operational, we'll have 8 licensed Christ-centered counselors. And they will specialize in everything from addiction to trauma to attachment to a lot of the issues that we're seeing and hearing. Yeah. And then my favorite part about it's called the Wings Center, like Eagle's Wings, the Wings Center, is just like Eagle Ranch, it's a sliding scale. So, in 37 years, we've never turned away a family because of money. Yeah. And that's due to our donors. Like, we're just not going to turn families away. So we want them to pay something, but it's not going to be a deal breaker. So we're really excited because we feel like we're going to be able to help a lot of those people that we currently can't help in our residential program, but also it's just open to the community. So if you know someone that's struggling with whatever, marriage counseling, individual, PTSD, just going through a rough patch, you can send them our way and we'll be able to serve them.
Hey, well, I'm switching it up a little bit. I'm going to ask you a couple of more personal questions. So what is the most important lesson that you've learned over your career?
Yeah, lots. I think it's going to sound corny, but that's okay. I am very corny. So
I love it.
I think it's you gotta dance with what brung you. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't put on airs. Like I'm a goofball. I own it. I do take, I take my work seriously, but I try not to take myself too seriously. And so, I just think as congruent as we can be, like, I want to be the same person at work that I am at home, that I am with my friends, that I am, so I just think anytime you're having to be one way for work and a different way at home and that should be like a red flag, like, hey, so I love that I'm at a place where I can just really be free to be me, the good, bad, and the ugly. So I just think be true to yourself, and that's your gift to the world. You don't have to be something you're not. So
I love that. That is really, really good advice. That's fantastic. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
One more personal question. In your opinion, what is the most important like personality trait or strength that someone would need in your field? I mean, it's kind of a tough field.
Yeah. And I have to be fair, I have to sort of break it up, because when I tell people where I work, they're like, wow, that must be really tough.
Yeah.
And the reality, if I'm just being like straight up, like it's really tough for the people on the front line. So our house parents, our counselors, our teachers, our program assistants. But for me, like I'm more outward facing, external facing. Like I'm kind of part of the business of business of Eagle Ranch. So I'm not in the trenches. I mean, I get to do things with the kids and spend time, but so it almost is two answers, but I would just say, even for me, for this field, it's got to be a calling.
Yes.
You got to feel called to it, because no one in their right mind I mean, most time when people are in pain, we are going in the other direction, right? If someone's really, really hurting, you're like, good luck with that.
Yeah.
But with what we do and what so many nonprofits do, people are really, really hurting, and we are stepping into their pain. And that's just counterintuitive.
Right.
So it needs to be a calling, because it is going to get hard. And maybe that's with every job. You got to feel called to what you're doing and be like, yeah, it's going to be hard, but this is where I'm supposed to be, at least for this season. And just really, be able to roll up your sleeves and be all in. You can't have one foot in and one foot out, really, in anything, and be successful and or happy. So got to either be all in or not. So.
I love that. And I also love that, what you said about for the season, even if it's just for a season. But I think that's great, because I can imagine that your house parents don't stay house parents forever, right? I mean,
no. So yeah, I'm glad you said that, because our house parents, the way we do that is we ask for a 3-year commitment.
Okay.
It's really almost like mission work. Think about a missionary, they're going somewhere and they are signing on for sort of a tour of duty. So we ask for a 3-year commitment. And we do that just because we do want to have continuity with the kids and the families. After that, like we have a house parent couple right now who's been there 8 years. Wow. So, I mean, sometimes they do stay longer, but it is that idea, hey, it's a season. And at the end of this season, we'll sort of see, like, is this where we're still supposed to be, or is it time to move on? But I don't think that's even just for house parents. I think that was even sort of with the magazine. Like, I loved being a part of that startup. I love that whole entrepreneurial vibe. I loved it, but I knew, like, you get that little pull in your heart, like, okay, there's going to be a time when I'm called away from this.
Yes. Yeah.
And to, instead of fighting it, just be like, I'm open, Lord, but I'm kind of all in or all out. So it's hard for me to do something half-hearted.
Yeah. So. No, I totally get that. And I think that's really awesome advice. So thank you for bringing that up. So final question, what is Eagle Ranch's greatest need, and how can, community leaders help support y'all?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I'm so glad you asked. I have 3 ideas.
Shoot. Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is just, for community leaders to have their eyes and ears open. We always say, people say, what kind of child comes to Eagle Ranch? It's a child, Do you know what I mean? Like, we all know kids and families that are struggling. I know with my own family, there's been times like, is this just a phase or is this something more serious? So, just having your eyes and ears open to say, hey, have you heard of this place? They're right down the road. There's no downside to calling or checking it out. So just, people don't know, or a lot of times what we'll hear is people will learn about us and they're like, there's no way I could afford that. No, don't cut, we have people literally paying as little as $50 a month to be there.
Wow, that's
so yeah, don't let, and I just think sometimes that's sort of the enemy talking, like they want to, you're talking yourself out of it before you even really look at it. So that would be the first thing. Just if you know someone that's struggling, say, man, what's the downside? Call them up. Maybe they've got some resources. Maybe they can help. Or at least if we're not a fit, that. So that'd be the first thing. The second thing is just, leaders, God works with everybody, but I just think people have seasons where they know, like, I want to do something different. And so I just, like, even me, like, I'm a business person. I've spent my life in business and for profit, and to be like, I don't know anything about fundraising, but the reality is fundraising is relationships.
Yes.
And listening to people and finding out what's on their heart, and then just saying, hey, based on what you care about, here's some needs over here. It's so the same. So the same. So I just want to encourage people, like, again, just be open to there's so many great nonprofits that need good, strong business leadership. And so, just encourage being open to, if you feel like you're getting that tug. And then just the final thing, obviously, is just donations. We're completely private. So we don't take any government money. We don't take any state money. We didn't take any PPP money. We really rely on, it's just a community saying there needs to be a place for hurting kids.
I love that.
And donating. So whether it's, we have a lot of local businesses, there's some great Gwinnett businesses that just pour into us. There's great Gwinnett individuals that pour into us. Several foundations in Gwinnett pour into us. And that's why we're able to do and serve who we serve. So all that's on our website, or they're welcome to call me if you want to include my cell number, my email address. If someone wants a tour, that's what I'm there for. So if you got anything stirring in your heart, call me up and come see me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's great. Yeah, we've even gone, Leadership Gwinnett's had a tour there. So it's a really incredible facility, and it's just such a spectacular thing that you guys are doing there. So thank you so much, Kelly. And we're all out of time for today. Thank you for spending the morning with me to tell our audience a little bit more about yourself and this incredible resource in our community. To learn more, as Kelly has mentioned, please visit eagleranch.org. I'll also include some links in an email that goes out to their, they have an info video about the program, and then their social media links as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Lead Up.